coming down to listen to us today. We are Dynamics. I'm Helen Garner, the Account Director.
I'm Asher Burrell, Account Manager.
I'm Dane Challis, the Media Manager.
I'm Michael Avery, the Creative Director.
And I'm Jessica Lesby, Marcom's Manager.
So Dynamics is based in London, and we've been in operation for 11 years now, and we see 2007 as a really important year for us in terms of growth, and we really hope that you'll be a part of that. So the pitch overview. First one, we'll talk about the frame of reference, then we're going to discuss the objectives of the campaign. We'll then talk about the process, which is the research, the facts and the brand truth, which will then lead us on to the proposition of the campaign. We'll then discuss the creative and media execution, followed by the Marcom's plan, and I'll finish with an evaluation and a summary. So our purpose defined. Wrigley's, as you know, have a 98% market share. However, we feel that there's a saturation of this current market, which has led to a need to increase this market size with the over 35 audiences as set out in your brief. And in doing this, we will implement a category campaign for chewing, which will encourage this age group to actually just start chewing in general. So the consumer. We're going to target the 35 to 44-year-old consumer, men and women. We feel that it's going to be equal to men and women, as we don't feel there's a specific skew in the sexes when it comes to sort of chewing gum. The cut-off we decided at 44 years old was because with the budgetary constraints for this campaign, we feel that we wanted to create a really concise, tight-knit campaign. We thought that if we focused on this audience and what with our creative execution, we thought this would be the best group to target. So two key points really. We want to reduce and build familiarity and habit amongst the non-chewers and reduce their social stigma by offering a variety of benefits, which we will discuss later on. So the competition, not a really important factor, but we do need to mention it, as obviously you have 98% of your market share. However, obviously new entrants such as Trident need to be considered. Although they target the younger consumer, in the future they may sort of decide to sort of jump on that bandwagon and target the over 35s as well. But more importantly, the current over 35s prefer mints, such as Tic Tac and Smin, and we want to sort of revert that so that they actually prefer chewing gum to mints. So the company, we really want our campaign to fit in with the Wrigley way, your spirit of innovation. Our campaign will provide you with a strategy that will ensure a long-term future success with this over 35s market, and in doing so it will maintain your company's core values. So the objectives.
So from the target audience mentioned, our target audience has been measured at 3.5 million people within the UK. And these are the 5 objectives in order of importance. The first one we see as most important is to increase awareness and understanding. We feel that awareness and understanding is the key to basically getting 35 to 44-year-olds to start chewing gum, because if we educate them on what the actual benefits of chewing gum are, it will evoke them to actually trial the product. The second and third are of joint importance, and they're to change attitudes and to reduce the social stigma. We're already aware that the social stigma of chewing gum being an out-of-home activity and younger people adopting it more is something that we need to counter, and we're hoping that through this campaign we're going to be able to do that and change the attitudes of potential consumers. We want to establish preference amongst the target audience of chewing gum over mints, because at the moment they prefer the latter, and we'd like to swap that trend so that they're actually preferring gum based on the benefits that it provides. And the final one is to evoke word of mouth. It's, if you like, a secondary objective, but we feel it's important because if we can get that happening and get sort of peers to discuss it and sort of recommend it to each other, it's such a strong tool, it'll be beneficial to the campaign. So this is our process. We're basically going to take you through how we got from all the insight that we collected to our proposition. Insight we've categorised into 3 elements: the research, the brand truth and the facts. So the first thing is the primary research. We did 8 in-depth interviews with our target audience, with the main aim just to understand consumption trends and patterns of their chewing habits, and sort of engaging with them in terms of their motives and their understanding of what chewing gum is. And to do that, we broke down the groups into 2 fours. The first 4 were for non-chewers, and basically that allowed us to understand why they don't chew and the reasons for that. But the second set were the more important ones, because they were chewers, so we could find out why they do chew, and we could use that stimulus to non-chewers to ask them, would these motives be applicable to you, and would this sort of motivate you more to actually start chewing gum?